I also want to buff the headlights because the clear coat or the sealant, whatever is on there, has not eaten through. It's just started to turn a little yellow. But if you look at the front end, it really does tie together. It really makes it look a lot more sharper than it was. Welcome back to another episode of Bro Premier, guys. If you are new to the channel, we've previously been working on my 2004 Toyota Avalon. I picked this thing up for $2,000 and I got it that cheap because it came with a busted windshield, cracked up here. Also came with a messed up fender that I replaced in the last episode. It also came with a rim that has been replaced from the stock, so it looks a little funky. And the front bumper has a little front end damage. Other than that, the car is sound, it's tight, it drives very nice, very happy about the purchase. But today, what I would like to get done is I want to drive down and get the windshield replaced, and I want to try to replace the rim. I also want to run down to the junkyard. Since I messed up in the last episode, I thought I got the covering piece here for the front bumper, but it turns out 2004 was the only year they made this style of cutout. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find something that matches, so I think I'm going to try to head down and get the fog lights that should fit in this space. They look to be the exact size and shape, and hopefully they'll be able to fit. If not, I'm going to try to find one of these covers, but there's only two models that are 2004 down there, and one of them has the lights and the other one I couldn't see if it had that insert. So that is my goal for right now. I originally said in the last episode I wanted to paint this thing. I'm sorry, I do want to paint this thing, guys. Unfortunately, I have some prior engagements that I'd already planned for this weekend. I'm heading to LA to hang out with some family and friends, and I just don't think I'm going to be able to get enough of this done before I leave for LA that'll end up causing more damage and I'll have to come back and redo it. It would just be an entire headache, so I'd prefer to get this thing finished up so that at least when I get back from LA, I can list this thing for sale and then put all of my time into this car. And then while the paint and body work are drying on this car, I'll be able to start tackling the engine on this along with the engine on the Forte. So I do have a kind of weird plan to my madness, but just the way everything's laid out, I think this is the smartest choice I should make. Get this thing out of the way, get it done, then tackle this and probably do the engine on that and this right around the same time. Anyway, so that's my goal for right now. I'm gonna pack up some tools and then start heading down towards the junkyard. I'm also gonna call a couple windshield shops. It's either gonna be the first guy I used to go to or the second guy I just found. Just depends who will let me tape today. So that's the goal. Let's get at it. All right, guys, I went and got the windshield. It took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Guy had to wait for the delivery, but turned out great. I'm very happy. It looks a little more fresh because the old one had like the yellowish brown tint, which really does match the actual tint of the car, but it feels newer now. The car feels a little more refreshed and newer because of this tint. It's weird. Just that little bit kind of changes the mood of driving this thing. It's weird. Anyway, I'm very happy there's no more cracks. He was able to save the chrome molding. I think you saw him taping that thing on and then re-adhering it. So anyway, yeah, came out great. Right now, I'm heading into the junkyard. I want to get, I believe I'm gonna try to get the lower like fog lights for this car. I think I found one car that has them. I'm hoping they're still there. I also might try to get something else. I'm not sure yet. Depends if I see it in there and if it's actually worth it. But anyway, I'm gonna get started. I'll get back to you guys in a bit. All right, guys, I was able to get the fog lights. I was able to find a good coolant tank. I don't know if you saw the second one, but it had the exact same hole issue that mine has, and it was also covered up with black duct tape. I'm thinking that's like Toyota's quick little fix. It's not a pressurized coolant tank, it's just an overflow. So I'm guessing that they just put some tape on those back holes when they dry out. Anyway, I ended up seeing another Avalon right down the road that was a newer version, so I figured it might have a new model of that plastic, and it did, so I was able to grab that. But right now, what I would like to do is I actually want to head to like a tire depot, something to switch out that tire onto the new rim that I got. So that's where we're heading right now. I'll see you guys there. All right, guys, we are back. I ended up taking the car to go get smog. I just kind of skipped it because it would have been boring for you to watch. The car just sits there. But it passed smog. This thing is just roaring right ahead. Knock on wood. I'm gonna knock on wood just in case, because I don't want that to backfire in my face. But I was able to get the windshield done. Feels really good. Was able to get the stock rim back on. Very happy about that. I have the nice little sports rim in the trunk. Right now my goal is I want to tackle this pinstriping. Some of you guys were saying about maybe just redoing the whole line, that it's a pretty simple idea. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna yank it. I have seen these body panels without the line, and it's a very clean look. This kind of, I feel it ages it a little bit. Kind of brings down to a certain demographic, maybe just an older crowd that would be more appealed to this. Kind of looks like an Oldsmobile to me than maybe a Toyota. So no offense to anyone who likes pinstriping. I'm not against it or anything. I just think I might open up people to a different view of this if I take it off. So I'm gonna take it off. It is chopped kind of everywhere. There's little pieces, little nicks missing everywhere. Now, a couple of you guys, or one of you guys at least, mentioned the eraser wheel to take this off. I think that is going to be part of how I'm going to attack this. The other thing is I've watched a video where someone took just some heat with a heat gun and kind of just made this more pliable so you can kind of start to peel the pinstripes right off. I'm going to try that technique first. If it doesn't work, then we're going to switch to the eraser wheel and go that route. But I am going to take it off because no matter what, I mean, there's just little chips all down the whole thing. Just little spots of glue left. So I don't want to redo it. Don't really care to. I think it's gonna look better without it. There might be a slight shade difference, but we'll see after I'm all done how bad it actually looks. So I'm gonna get started with that. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right guys, it is the next morning. That removing the pinstripe took me like 2 hours. Kind of surprised me. I thought I was gonna bang it out in 30 minutes, but I'm sure you guys are used to this type of talk. I always think it's gonna be quick and it never is, but it came off. There's still all the glue residue left on here. Unfortunately, last night I did not have any more brake clean or anything to try to remove this. I know some of you are gonna be scared about me using brake clean. Just gonna use enough to kind of take off the glue, and then I'm gonna probably buff the top anyway to kind of surface that grittiness. But here I tried just using rubbing alcohol and scrubbing, and you can see it's kind of like, I don't know if you can see in there, but created a bunch of scratch marks because of it. So I'm going to use some brake clean. I used a little bit here, started taking it off way easier. But yeah, after I take off all the glue, I do want to buff up that space because I know I'm going to kind of scratch the surface and make it look not so friendly. So I want to buff that surface, and as I'm doing that, I also want to buff the headlights because the clear coat or the sealant, whatever is on there, has not eaten through. It's just started to turn a little yellow. So I think I should be able to buff that back, no problem. And I also want to buff the new fog lights that I just got because they're pretty ugly on the outside, and I think a quick little buff will really bring some nice shine to it, make the front end of this car look really, really sharp. So that's my goal for right now. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right guys, I finished buffing everything. Looks pretty good. You can't really see the line unless you're looking for it, so I'm very happy about that. I was able to get the logo off the back here, so glad. But yeah, if you guys look, the line is almost gone. If you can see it, I'm sure you can on some angles, but this fender shows it the most, honestly. The rest of it's kind of hard to see. The headlights came out pretty good. Unfortunately, my camera, I think, is starting to overheat from being in the sun, and it shut off, but I ended up polishing them twice. It really brought them back. I really like the look at them. They're looking sharp. I was able to buff these up somewhat. They look pretty good. I think they're just kind of worn out regardless. That's okay. They're still going to look better than the empty hole that I have there. So my goal for right now is to install those fog lights, and then also I want to install the new coolant tank. So I'm going to get started with that, and I'll get back to you guys in a few. All right guys, I have finished up the lights. Everything looks good. They were such a pain just for one little bolt trying to fight it. The one mangled side was a lot harder. The second side was just trying to find the bolt long enough to actually reach and go in there. But it's in. It looks good. I'm very happy. I actually like the look more. It makes it look a little more futuristic with the lights on. The coolant tank was super simple to install. Literally, you just pull it out, slam it back in, pour the fluid in. Worked out pretty good. But if you look at the front end, it really does tie together. It really makes it look a lot more sharper than it was. So yeah guys, I think that is going to almost wrap up this car. Probably in the next episode, I'm gonna do a quick clean. I might take it to a little detail shop before I list it, just to make it easier on me. But I do want to try to mess with that plastic molding in the back and probably pull down the headliner if I can and try to push this dent up. And there's a small one on the other side. I don't know if it's worth it. I might do that, but I'll definitely get it cleaned regardless and then listed in the next episode. Also in the next episode, I definitely want to start sanding this thing down and getting it ready for paint. It needs a lot of work and I need to get started. So hopefully I can start this in the next episode, get it all listed, get it looking pretty, then roll over, sand this thing down, and just start cranking away on it. Right now I'm in the process of ordering the parts that were stolen from my porch, and one of them is the timing chain for the camshafts. So it's kind of one of the major parts that I need to do this. What I'm thinking probably is out of time, honestly. So that is gonna take a little bit, probably at the end of next week. So maybe the second episode next week, I'll start tackling that one. But anyway, guys, I think that is going to wrap up this episode of Bro Premiere. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch you again on Thursday. Later, guys.